Okay, so today we're going to be talking about point-slope form of the equation, and this is the equation that we're going to be looking at. Notice that we still have m, which represents slope. Now we have y, y1, x, and x1 introduced. What we're going to be talking about is substituting values into x1 and y1, and we'll look at an example. This is a very important equation because we will be going from point slope to slope intercept form, which we've talked about before. But first, let's look at this example below. So I already filled out the steps for you, and then the problem on the side is what we're going to be looking at. Problem number 1. A line is passing through the point 2, 5 with a slope of 2/3. Here's the steps. The first thing that you want to do is find the slope given the information. Sometimes you're going to have to calculate the slope. They'll give you 2 ordered pairs, and we've already talked about solving that. The next step would be to choose one of the ordered pairs that we're going to be plugging into our equation. In this case, we only have one, so it makes it easier on us. Then we want to substitute the values for m and x1 and y1 into point slope form. So if you look at this problem, I've already labeled something for you, which is very important, and you need to start doing that. 2 represents x1 and 5 is represented, it's the y1 variable that we're going to be plugging into our equation. So first thing is, I know that my slope is 2/3, so I know I have to do something with this, and I'm going to be plugging 2 and 5. If you look at the original equation, the slope is located after the equal sign and before the parentheses. So this 2/3 right here, I'm actually going to be plugging it in right in front of the parentheses. I'm keeping it in the format that they gave me, so I have 2/3 parentheses. Now I got to fill in these 2 slots right here. Okay. x1, 2. If you notice from the equation, x1 comes after the minus sign in the parentheses, so this will be 2. So x minus 2. This 5, I'm going to plug it into the open space here, so I'll have y minus 5. Okay, so this is a very basic problem, and then we're going to see what happens if we weren't given the slope. Okay, so if you scroll down, again, please make sure you take notes on the information that I've underlined and what I've added. This is a review from last week. Now we're supposed to actually find the slope. So right now I would take some time to pause the video, find the slope. I've started already the format, so go ahead and pause this video and then check back with me when you're ready to go. Alright, so we are going to now calculate the slope given the information, and what I'm going to do now is actually just type in the information. y2, I know it's y2 minus y1, so I'm going to take 8 minus 7. Okay. Then my denominator, I'm going to take -1 minus 2. Okay, so this is the format. It should be review. And then you want to simplify your answer. So you'll have a numerator and denominator. Please make sure you have the simplest form. So 8 minus 7 is 1, and -1 minus 2 is -3. Okay, so once we've done that, we have our fraction. Our slope, we want to have it in simplest form, which it is. Now I'm going to put -1/3. Okay. Now, we will look back in the equation that we have at the top here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I found my slope. All I have to do now is choose an ordered pair that I want to plug into my equation. So here is my, I'm going to do some typing in right now. Okay, I have a couple of spaces here that I need to fill in. The -1/3 I can put into this place right here because slope goes in front of the parentheses. Okay, negative 1/3. Now you can choose any of the 2 points. I'm going to choose these 2 points because I want to show you what happens if you have 2 negatives. Okay. Here x2, I know that you have x1 and y1, and this is x2 and y2, and the equation at the top have the subscripts of 1, but I want to let you know that you can use any of these 2 points, okay? This point, negative 1, is my x value. This will be substituted in this area right here, but notice what happens. You have to put a negative 1 inside here. When you have 2 negatives, we've talked about how really when you subtract a negative, it's really, you're adding it. So this actually becomes a positive. So it's actually x plus 1. So I'm going to show that in my final answer down here. You got to be very careful with that. That's where students tend to make mistakes. Okay. My y value that I'm going to substitute is this 8. So I'm going to plug y minus 8. Okay. When I write my final answer, I don't want any of this stuff going on. I want to actually have it nice and organized. So my equation is y minus 8 equals negative 1/3. I'm going to actually write that in for you guys because it's hard to make a fraction on Smartboard. And continue on with my parentheses. Oops. I'll fix it later. X plus 1. And then close those parentheses. And here is my equation. Okay? So again, this is just substituting. Hopefully you guys are kind of understanding now what we're going to have to do. And then be aware of, you might have situations where you have double negatives. Okay? Well, maybe you can pause the video and try example number 3. Once you're ready to go, you can go ahead and play. Okay? Alright, so for this one, my slope, I've been given the slope, which is negative 5. So I know that I'm going to be plugging that into my equation where I see m. Then here it says the x-intercept of 3. Okay, so we're going to see what happens. Sometimes you're going to have to translate that, and you guys are aware we've been practicing on how to convert this information into an ordered pair. So I'm going to start off with my equation, y minus, leave some space in there, leave space there, x minus. Alright, and let's begin. My slope, negative 5, I'm going to put that into my equation. So I'm not going to actually write negative 5 over 1. When we're writing into our equation, we never put this number into a fraction. That's only for graphing. So that'll be negative 5. This is x1, so let me try to write this down. This is x1 and y1. x1 will be placed in here. There's no negative sign situation here, so we can just plug it in. So x minus 3. The 0 is going to be left on the side there. And now we have to simplify because we can't have y minus, we can't have y minus 0. We can just simplify that to y equals, because y minus 0 is just y. Over here we can't do that because y minus 8, that's just we can't combine those terms. In this case we can. And then we are left with negative 5 parentheses x minus 3. Alright, so that's how you solve these problems. Now, when we are talking about converting from point-slope form to slope-intercept, we're going to have to do, we're going to have to distribute and subtract or add. So that's what we're going to be looking at the next page. Okay, so let me turn over. So this should be very familiar to you guys. Y equals mx plus b. We know that the m is your slope and that b is your y-intercept. Let me just type that in. You guys go ahead and write that into your notes. Okay. Recall that you will have to write the slope-intercept form of each equation shown below. You have to find your endpoints, so you guys can go ahead and do this on your own. I'll post the answer key for you later. But what I want to focus on is the we tries on this one. Now we're going to be writing a slope-intercept equation given this information, and we're going to use the point slope from the point slope notes from the previous page. Okay, so for here, write the slope-intercept form that has a slope of -2.9. So I have my slope right here. Oops, it's kind of a, yeah, there you go. So this is our slope, and I have my point 18 and -24, so I'm going to put x1, y1, here we go, and I'm going to go back to point slope minus, oops, x minus, and then these are the spaces that I'm going to fill in, okay? And let's begin. My slope is -2.9, so I'm going to plug that into my equation in front of the parentheses. So -2.9. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Then I have 18 is a positive number, so x minus 18. Put that in here. Now we have a -24, so when we have a negative number, just make sure that you're aware that you're going to have to do some extra stuff at the end here. Okay. Two negatives give you a positive, so technically this is y plus 24. And if we're trying to convert it, I want to solve for y. So what I'm going to do is actually distribute the -2/9 over to everything in the parentheses. So I'll be distributing that, and I'll be distributing that. So take some time to multiply and check back with me. Okay, and now I have shown below here, I've distributed the -2/9 to everything inside the parentheses, and this is my result. I'm almost done. I almost have y by itself. All I have to do is now do the inverse property of addition and subtract 24 to both sides, okay? So when I subtract 24 to both sides, notice how I will only subtract it from the positive 4, okay? We can't subtract it from this. This is not, they're not the same terms, okay? So then, when I write my final answer here, I'm going to change it to a color where you guys can see. Y equals, change that to a different color, maybe darker. Okay. Y equals the -2/3. Let me fill that in with a pen. I'm sorry, -2/9. X 4 minus 24 will give me -20. And that's my final answer. So there's like a recap of everything I've talked about. Make sure that you find the slope that you're given, plug it into the equation where you see m, and then label your points. Make sure you are aware that sometimes you might have double negatives. When you are converting from point slope to slope intercept form, distribute. Make sure you've checked your work, okay? And then the last step is to subtract or add. If this was a minus sign, then I would have added 24, but because this is a plus sign, I'm subtracting 24 to both sides, and I'm only subtracting it to a like term. And then I just write my final answer. Now you can see I have this in slope-intercept form. Y equals m x, and then remember plus b minus b. This is all depending on whether this number is negative or positive. Okay. So what I like you to do now is take time to solve 2. You will have the slope. You need to find that. Pick one of these 2 points and then write your final equation. Okay. Same thing with number 3. You're going to have to translate this, actually make this into an ordered pair, find the slope, follow the steps that you've learned before. And number 4, pick any of the 2 points, find your slope. So all of this is easy if you can look back at this problem and this example. Okay, hopefully this has helped you guys, and then I will be answering questions during class. Okay, good luck.